Hello everyone, and welcome back to Toku Toy Theory, where we take a look at toys from various tokusatsu series and try to figure out why they look and act the way they do. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at Kamen Barren and his two forms, banana arms and mango arms. So, let's begin. So first off, we'll take a look at Kamen Barren himself. So for his main body, he has a red-silver color scheme, and in general is based on a knight, with his helmet having a visor that is segmented by various slats, as well as having a torso that is based on chainmail, and having knight-like guards on his forearms and thighs. He also has a vine-like pattern that goes on his armor, and said pattern is also reflected in his faceplate. Next, we have the banana lock seed and the banana armor part. Now at this point we kind of start to diverge from the concept of having the armor part being based on the lock seed design. Though they are still, of course, based on the same fruit, but, of course, the difference is quite visually clear, where the banana lock seed, which is LS08, has a bunch of bananas on it. The banana armor part is in itself a single banana, though they do kind of give it some layered lines to make it seem like it could be a bunch that were kind of combined into one banana. Interesting thing is that while there is gold for all of the bananas on the lock seed, gold only makes up a section of the banana armor part. The rest of it has a silver design, which does give it a unique look, though it doesn't look quite so much like a banana as it could. So turning on the banana lock seed will give a medieval flair. Then we have the transformation sounds for banana arms, which for Barren has a standby tune which is very much like a fanfare from medieval times. And this brings us to Kamen Barren banana arms. And here we can see that the banana is used to form the armor in quite an interesting way, where it starts off by using a pair of bananas as horns, then takes the two ends of the bananas and turns them into these asymmetrical shoulder pads, and even uses segments of bananas to form the chest plate. Now this design is most likely based on a medieval British knight. The big term manufacturing that is the weapon, the Bonosphere. And because there's a toy version of that, that's what I will look at next. So, here we have the Biosphere itself. Now, the design here is quite clear visually, and it's quite obvious that what they did here was that they basically took a peeled banana, then turned it into a medieval lance. And this is the big design factor, as a lot of British knights, specifically cavalry, naturally wielded lances while on horseback, and in fact a popular sporting event in medieval time was jousting, which of course involved lances. Now what makes the Biosphere interesting is that it can actually extend out. And this is where it's used for attacking, primarily. However, attacking with it in its compacted mode actually charges up its special attack. That being said, the proportions here are just a little bit off, as you can clearly see that these peel sections wouldn't really be big enough to cover up the kind of edible part of the banana that makes up the lance. But still an interesting design nonetheless, and one that does make sense. Next we have the mango lock seed and the mango armor part. Now again, it's obvious that the design for the mango armor part isn't quite based on the mango lock seed, but both are accurate to how mangoes look. Just different variations. For the mango lock seed, this has the more common form of a mango, where it has a gradient of red to yellow, though also oftentimes mangoes will have a gradient of red to yellow to green. But here they just use two colors. This is LS11. For the mango armor part, on the other hand, this is more of a fully ripened red mango. And while it does look plain, it does also have intricate details or intricate design that's molded into the seams. Though, due to the design, there are some gaps in the actual armor part. Now, unlike with Gaim, both of Barren's lock seeds have the same initial flare. They also carry the same tune, just with slightly different words and different sounds. This brings us to Kamen Rider Barren, Mango Arms. What makes this design interesting is that much of the actual shell of the armor part is relegated to this cape in the back, while most of the armor is now revealed and wasn't really visible from the outside. Now, what's interesting about the mango arms is that the basic design motif is actually that of a diced mango, where when prepared, a knife is used to cross-hatch it and give it this kind of a look to it before scooping it out. It also creates some interesting armor, to where the entire back part of the helmet is carved mango with these interesting curled horns. You have that same thing going on with the shoulder pads and even the chest plate. Now for the weapon, we have this long two-handed mace called the Mango Puncher. And once again, this was kind of the determining factor in the basis for this armor, as what I was able to determine is that the Mango Puncher is most likely based on a Germanic mace, meaning that Barren Mango Arms is mostly based on a Germanic knight. And that does make some sense, as that was the other type of knight that was well known, or rather, during medieval times, the two countries with the most prominent knights were Britain and Germany. So in that way, it does certainly make some sense. though at the time the Britons were known as the Anglo-Saxons. But nonetheless, it certainly is quite interesting. And that was Kamen Barren. Now, as people who've watched the show will know, later in the series, Barren acquired Lemon Energy Arms as a sort of power-up form, but this was a change made during the series, rather an addition made during the series, because of the character's popularity. So I'll be covering Lemon Energy Arms when I get to the writer that was actually meant for. As for Barren himself, he definitely has quite an interesting theme to him, and this episode, or rather the research for it, was quite an eye-opener for me. As while I always knew that Barren Banana Arms was based on an Anglo-Saxon knight, Banana Arms was a little bit trickier. When it originally came out, I thought it was based on a Viking, but that was later contradicted by a writer that came in later in the series who was more clearly based on a Viking, so for the longest time I had trouble pinning down what it was supposed to be based on. It was only until I looked up different types of maces that I discovered the Germanic mace that led me to the connection that Banana Arms is based on a Germanic knight. And once again here, the use of the fruits, it works quite well, with the banana becoming the very heavy armored, or rather the broad-shouldered banana arms, as well as being peeled open to be used as the Bonosphere. And then for the mango, kind of peeling it back to use as cape, and then having the diced insides used as the armor for mango arms, as well as using a carved mango for the head of the Mango Punisher. And overall, I just think that Barren has a very cool and very cohesive theming to him, where he really is just completely night-themed, which I really do think is quite amazing. So, next time I'll be reviewing the Newton Ghost, Himiko Ghost, and Yursen set from Kamen Rider Ghost. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and or subscribe. You can check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/KRX50. And for now, this is KRX50, writing off.